Today, we're going to dive into something I find fascinating: the psychology of quiet strength. We're going to unpack why, so often, the most powerful person in the room is actually the one who says the least. Seriously, think about it for a second. At work, at a party, maybe even in your own family, there's always that one person who's just observing, taking it all in. And it's so easy to just label them as shy or uninterested, right? But what if there's something much, much deeper going on? And that's really the big idea here. That quiet exterior, it's often a shield, a cover for an incredibly active, deeply processing, and unbelievably strong internal world. This isn't a weakness, not at all. It's a totally different kind of power. All right, so first up, let's try to unpack this enigma of the misunderstood observer. Their quietness might seem like a mystery, but it's actually rooted in some pretty clear psychological principles. You see, their mind is never really off. It's constantly scanning, processing, analyzing. While everyone else is busy talking, they're the ones noticing that tiny hesitation in someone's voice or the way a person's body language shifts when a tough subject comes up. It's not about being antisocial. It's about being a deep thinker in a world that, let's be honest, usually rewards the most superficial interactions. So, if their silence is so full of observation, where does this actually come from? Well, it's not like they just woke up one day and decided to be this way. More often than not, it's an adaptation, a set of survival skills they picked up early in life that just stuck. For so many of these quiet individuals, that incredible composure wasn't learned in some peaceful, Zen-like environment. No, it was forged in the fire. It was built in situations that demanded it, maybe growing up in an unpredictable household or having to take on adult responsibilities way too soon. And psychology actually has a really cool term for this. It's called stress inoculation. The best way to think about it is like a vaccine for stress. Because they've been through high-pressure stuff before, their brain literally learns not to overreact to new threats. So when everyone else is running around panicking, they're the calm center of the storm. Because for them, this is familiar territory. And these self-reliant adults, they have all kinds of origin stories. You've got the easy child who learned really early on that not making a fuss keeps the peace. Then there's the kid who had to grow up way too fast, pretty much becoming their own parent. And of course, you've got the classic Gen X kid raised to just figure it out because no one else was going to do it for them. Different roads, but they all led to the same place. Okay, so how does this incredibly rich internal world actually show up in everyday life? Well, it's through a bunch of habits that, honestly, most people get wrong. But these aren't just random quirks. They're the signs of a complex mind hard at work. Let's start with a big one: small talk. They tend to avoid it, and people immediately think, oh, they're antisocial. But that's not it at all. Their minds are wired for depth. For them, surface-level chit-chat is like running on a mental treadmill. It's absolutely exhausting, and you go nowhere. They're saving their energy for the deep, meaningful conversations. Another common misread: they can seem indecisive. But this isn't a lack of confidence. It's actually a sign of high intelligence. Their brain is doing something psychologists call cognitive complexity. So while you're busy weighing option A and B, they're already running mental simulations for options C, D, E, and F, thinking through every possible outcome. This brings us to their sense of organization. You might look at their desk and think it's a total disaster, but then you see their digital files or their project plans, and they are perfectly structured. This is all about mental efficiency. They practice selective organization. They save that precious organizational energy for the things that truly matter. And finally, have you ever caught someone quietly talking to themselves? It might look a little weird, I get it, but in psychology, this is called verbal reasoning. It's an incredibly effective, high-level cognitive tool. By turning their thoughts into words, even just whispers, they can organize ideas and solve complex problems way faster. Now, these habits are really just the tip of the iceberg. What's going on underneath all of that is a powerful internal mindset that's driving absolutely everything. Let's take a look at the psychological engine behind this quiet strength. This quote just nails it. We live in this pics or it didn't happen world, right? But they find their fulfillment internally. They don't need to perform their lives for an audience to feel like they're actually living. The official term for this is an internal locus of evaluation. The best way to think about it is this: it's like having your own internal compass for self-worth. You don't need to rely on the external GPS of likes, shares, and comments from other people. And that is why you rarely see them chasing clout online. Another key piece of the puzzle is their hyper-awareness. And this circles right back to their adaptive past. It's this finely tuned radar for sensing danger, reading intentions, and feeling the emotional temperature of a room. They're quiet because they're busy listening to the conversation that's happening underneath the actual conversation.
So we've seen how these traits get forged in the past and how they show up in the present. So let's bring it all together. What does this new definition of strength and success actually look like?
Well, here's the architecture of their strength. It's built on a solid foundation of high adaptability. The walls are made of advanced emotional regulation. The roof is a strong sense of internal validation. And inside that structure, you've got deep, complex thinking, all protected by a natural desire for privacy. These aren't signs of weakness. These are the pillars of true resilience.
And when you boil it all down, it really comes to this. Their life isn't a performance piece. For them, success isn't measured by outer applause. It's measured by inner peace. So I'll just leave you with this thought. In a world that is constantly screaming at us, constantly rewarding the loudest voice in the room, maybe, just maybe, we've been overlooking the true nature of strength. What if strength isn't about being the loudest voice, but about being the most observant?